Hi everybody! I hope you've been having fun drawing people. Today we're going to collage. So it's time to get out all those magazines you have lying around. The other things you'll need, a scissors, some glue. You can use a glue stick. I like to use liquid glue though because you can get kind of a wonky little container and a paintbrush, and you can pour the glue in there, and it's much easier to get a lot of coverage when you're working with collage that way. But if you're gonna go that route, you will also need a little bit, well, this isn't a little bit, but you will only need a little bit. I like to have a lot of everything all the time. So anyway, just a little bit of water. So the first thing we're gonna do is we're going to combine humans and animals to make creatures. So, and the other thing you can do is you can find big faces that we're going to embellish with a variety of things. So the first thing to do is to look through your magazine and find images that will work for that, or just images of anything that you like. It's, depending on the magazine that you have, sometimes it's kind of hard to find animals. I've already harvested through all these magazines. Usually fashion magazines are great for big faces. So that's something you can go ahead and look for. And then I usually get, if I need florals or food stuffs or something, I go through the Better Homes and Gardens. They generally have lots of garden stuff and floral stuff. So take a few minutes and go through your magazines and find some animals and some humans. And once you've done that, you can cut them out. And I like to cut them out pretty close to the edge. This can be a little trickier for littles. They might need some help getting some of those corners clipped. But, cut out your animal head. And usually once you have your animals and your humans cut out, then you can start thinking about looking at how they're gonna fit together in a believable way. So this doesn't really work. It feels kind of weird. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to behead this fine gelatin. Oh my gosh, it's kind of funny. A cow and he's drinking milk. Oh, this is gonna be weird, folks. But, go with it. Sometimes those are the funniest pieces when you get some kind of a weird combination of creature. So I'm just cutting his head out. And I've kind of cut around his collar so that when I tuck this cow head in, it really will feel like his head is coming out of the collar. So now I'm just sort of, I'm not working with glue and I haven't cut too small yet. And I'm just sort of moving it around to see what's the best way. I can tell that I'm gonna wanna cut this out right here, so that the cow's snout can come out over the shirt collar of my dude. But I do this slowly so I don't overcut. And now, oh, look at that. Okay. So now that's looking more believable to me, how he's looking out. There's a little bit of overlap there. But this is not selling it for me, so I'm gonna cut that part down. If any of you folks out there have ever taken a class from me, you have probably done this exercise because I think it is so much fun to make these creatures and then do the thing that we're gonna do next. I've done it with college students. I've done it with elementary age students. I've done it with, well, me, my kids, my friends. All right, now to me, that's starting to feel a little more believable. I'm not worried about perfection, obviously, because that's just not possible. But I have my Cowman Cometh. I've already got a title for the piece. Anyway, so Now the fun part is we've got this creature. Now I'm going to find a way to make this creature look either really big or really small by choosing what I put next to it. So let me show you what I mean. I'm putting Cowman over here. And I have a piece of paper that I'm gonna glue this on. This is cardstock, but you could use office paper. You could use your brown paper bag if you wanted to. So I've got something over here that I have already started cutting out. This is a fish lady, or I title this piece Reverse Mermaid. So now we can't tell if this lady is really big or really small, but if we give her an arm, right, coming out of her fin, and again, I kind of find a way to line up the connections there so they feel believable. And if she has a pet bird, well, see, she's taking her pet bird for a walk. She must be really teeny tiny because we all know how big birds are, right? Or if she's out taking a walk by the breakfast sandwich, well, then she's really small. Because we know how big breakfast sandwiches are. Or maybe she's on. I always wait to glue stuff down until I have my arrangement the way that I like it. Or if we want to make her seem really big, maybe we put her in a scene and she's bigger than all the other people in there. So if she's walking right next to these children who are running away in fright, it looks like, at the freakishly large fish lady, why then she's huge. I mean, she's towering over these buildings. So it's fun to see what kind of changing the scale, how we can use the objects we cut out next to our creature to change the scale of our creature. So that's one thing we can do. Now, I'm gonna go with this scene because I might even put that bird, maybe the bird is just as huge too. So, but the way this acts, I'm gonna cut these buildings out a little bit so that it's not just this square. And then I'm gonna show you how I like to glue things down. Oh, see those legs? Those were reverse legs. I don't like that quite so much. So anyway, I'm going to cut. When you're cutting stuff, you don't have to be perfect, but by being a little bit careful, it can really change the believability of your final piece, I think. So I'm just gonna kind of cut around these buildings a little bit. And then I'm gonna show you how to glue these down using a brush and Elmer's glue. Okay. I didn't notice that those little girls were running away. That's really funny to me. I don't know about you, but I don't think all art needs to be super serious and, you know, earth-shattering. I like art that is kind of funny or pokes fun at itself sometimes. But you do what feels good to you. That's the good thing about art, is you can really use it to have fun with and work on your own, you know. Oh boy, I don't even know what I'm saying. I'm just gonna stop. Okay, so now I'm gonna squirt some of this glue in my little dish. You can always add more. Don't go crazy. And then what I'm gonna do is, oh, I'll just put that there. I'm gonna get just a little bit. If you have too much water on your glue, it's gonna break down the glue and it's not gonna adhere the way that you want. And also, unless you're working with a really heavy duty paper, a lot of water is gonna cause it to like buckle and crinkle. So I would just really just get it wet, a little bit wet. We don't want a lot of water. And then go ahead and dip your paintbrush into your glue. It's just like paint this way. I have something behind me because, well, we learned about the black paint incident of 3 days ago. So I am learning from my mistake and having something on my table. So you want to work fairly quickly with this too, because by the time we want all the glue everywhere to be wet by the time we put it down. Okay. And just by my placement, I've already created a little white border. It's not perfectly even, but I do think that makes it look nicer. So then I'm just kind of rubbing any creases out gently. This magazine paper is pretty fragile and it can tear pretty easily, but we all have a million magazines, so don't freak out if it does tear. All right, so I've got my first part down. Now I'm gonna place my fish lady. Ooh, see, now that I've cut out that sky, I can really see Madame Fish Breath. What did I call her? I don't remember. Now, if she's too much in front, her scale looks about right. So I'm gonna make her back here so that if she's next to these girls or barely in front of them, it really looks like she's giant. Okay, so when I'm gluing these down, I want to glue down, the first thing that I want to glue down is the stuff that is behind the other thing. So if I glue my fish body down first, it's going to be, I'm not going to be able to tuck my legs behind her little fishtail area. Same with her arm, wherever that went. If I want the arm to be coming out of her body, I need to glue the arm before I glue the body. So we're kind of working from backwards forward. Okay, so legs. And again, I know I'm going to place them right up there by those girls. Ooh, see, it's a little movie aroundy. You can even, if you really want to sink it in there, you can paint in front. It's just clear, it's just glue. So that'll be okay. And then I think what I'm gonna do, I don't want to paint the arm down first because this could have changed a little bit. So I'm going to now paint like the bottom, glue the bottom part of my creature. Pouring a little more glue. Oh, maybe. What have I done? There we go. Okay, so I know I'm going to need a little glue there. Ba-boom. So I've just glued that bottom bit down. What's happening, but it's making me laugh. Oh, it's like this battle cry or something. I hope you guys have fun with this because the potential for comedy is great. Okay, so now I know that's where I want to place the arm. I am going to just fold it up a little bit, place it down. So parents, I'm sure you can see that this, you know, I'm doing this at my level. Like, I like to make sure things line up. If kids feel the same way, that's great, but they may need a little assistance. This can be a little bit tricky. All right, now I'm gonna get this fish lady down. And if your glue is, it's clear, so you don't have to be super careful about where the glue goes. All right. I think I'm still, and I'm going to glue, just to make sure it's down, I'm going to kind of get some in there. Oop, I got some buckling happening, but whatever. This is most supposed to be fun. This isn't going to be hanging in any museums. But it could be the start of something crazy, you know. It could be at the start of a, I don't know, comic book character that I then decide to draw. And I might still put her pet bird in there. I like that. Anyway, let's move on to the other thing that you can do with collage too. I mean, there's a million things you can do with collage, but we're just gonna narrow it down to a couple things. So, the other thing that is fun to do is to embellish a head. Now, you can do this, you know, I just try to find a big face. One way that I've done it in the past is gluing a face down and then painting black around everything. And I think folks should have black paint. I mean, if you have black paint, I suppose you could do it with white. And that kind of creates a blank canvas around this face. This is paint pen, but you could use colored pencils. Some color pencils would show up really nicely against black paint. You could use white paint. So here's my lady. Actually, I have a few different ladies. Maybe they're same thing. Glue. And working quickly with that glue so it doesn't dry before I get a chance to put my face on my paper. Okay. You can use Mod Podge. You can also use glue sticks. It doesn't have to be brushable glue. And then I had cut these flowers out, and someone in my family, Camera Girl B, noticed that they fit pretty perfectly. Oh my gosh, look at that Carmen Miranda hat. So sometimes when I'm collaging, I don't go in with a plan. I just, as I'm cutting things out and putting things, you know, things fall next to each other on the table. And then I'm like, ooh, that actually might look really cool together. So this is kind of a fun way to just sort of be open to whatever happens. Ooh, ooh, my hands are gonna be sticky. It's okay, it's a shower day for me. Okay. All right, so now this feels kind of weird to me. So I had found all these gems and jewels. I might give her some big fancy charms for her necklace. So when you're cutting things out, I think this is worth talking about too. There's a lot of, for kids, there's a lot of tricky little corners in there. So sometimes just cutting out the bigger shape and then from there, cutting out these littler shapes. I'm still not worried about the edges. That'll be much easier when I just have one piece to cut around. So this will be much easier to get at, these little edges. So that's a little hot tip for you guys. I have two more little ones that I started to cut apart. Yeah, so just getting them kind of in smaller overall shapes before trying to fine tune your edges can really minimize the amount of frustration. Ooh, I'm liking this. I mean, Madam Fish Breath was kind of cool, but this is taking kind of a fun, exciting turn. Maybe there's something coming. Oh! She speaks the language of jewelry. Ooh, she shouts. Is that bigger? Does that mean she's talking more, or is she shouting? Anyway, have fun with this. See what you come up with. Magazines offer all kinds of imagery. I do notice, instead of having an idea of what you want to make and looking for the pictures, that can be an exercise in frustration. I think it's better just to cut out your pictures and then puzzle piece together how scenes and images and combinations that you like. I think that's where the fun is. And then too, like I did with my botanicals, you can draw images, you can make words, you can embellish this however you want. Pardon me. I can get my Sharpie in here and I can say, what should I make her say? Feed me, Seymour. You can add text. You can add, this is really just stream of consciousness text even, but again, that's pretty funny. And I can add little leaf embellishments if I want. Anyway, have fun with it. Please post what you make in the comments. I love seeing what everybody's working on. And I'll see you guys tomorrow.